It's a lone leader up front as we head towards the conclusion of stage 4 of the Tour of Croatia, with Alessandro Tonelli clear of one raider, one lone rider in between, and the peloton not too far behind. And of course we've got Lucas Ovsian and Kala from the Colombian team are also in between, but 55 seconds the advantage for this man. It's the Italian Alessandro Tonelli.
Yeah, he's doing a super ride, predominantly a lot of downhill, so you know you hold on to a lot of this advantage, because very difficult to chase in this downhill. But it does look as if Guillaume Bovan from Israel Cycling Academy is just about to make the junction with Ovsian of CCC and Kala of Colombia. So 3 now chasing the sole leader Bardiani rider Tonelli in front, but they have to keep the tempo high, and I don't think there's enough firepower here willing to bring him back. I think it's down to the peloton now. The peloton sitting at 55 seconds. And if you want to win the stage, you're going to go up and have to ride with Barry and Merida, because I really don't think that Barry and Merida are too interested. They're happy enough with the race situation, and they're happy enough to look after Sweet Sue first. They're bringing the cars by, so I don't think these 3 riders have got much of an advantage in the peloton behind.
So the beautiful sights and sounds of the Adriatic coast and the towns and villages that prevail. Castles, battles, victories, all those tales have been told.
I had to check there, sorry Declan, I had to check there. He's pushing the boundaries now, 15 kilometres to go now, and he knows he's within a chance of a win here, and he is pushing out in the boundaries on some of these corners, and let's hope he stays upright, because it's been a good performance by him so far.
Yeah, super ride by Tonelli. 50-odd seconds of an advantage. That's coming down a little bit less than that now, and the bunch behind, one long snaking, chasing rabid race down this descent to try and get back to that group and get back to the 3 in front, as well as Tonelli, because Guillaume Bovan has added his impetus to Lucas Ovsian and Kala, the Colombian rider. Went straight to the front, dropped by that pairing, and indeed by this man Tonelli. Bardiani CSF yet to score a stage victory this week. They would have had, well, decent hopes that Andrea Guardini could deliver for them. I wonder, has Guardini made it over the climb with the bunch? It's a decent-sized group behind. Now find themselves 45 seconds down. Ovsian, Bovan and Kala. Ovsian in the orange colours of CCC Sprandi Polkovice, the yellow for Kala, and the strongman called the Porta squad from Colombia, and Bovan in the blue and white of Israel Cycling Academy. The former Canadian national road race champion is looking for a little bit of assistance. He had to work very hard to get back to this pairing. A little bit of top tube riding a la Chris Froome, propelling Bovan back into situation, but the bunch behind. Now it's up to the sprinters teams to try and do it with 13 kilometers remaining.
Yeah, you can just see the 3 riders just in front of the peloton on a matter of about 10 seconds, but to the front of the race to the peloton still within about 50-55 seconds, so he's still holding on, he's looking back. No reason to look back at the moment. Still 13 kilometres to go. This is the time trial of his life. He wants to try and win this stage. Of course, Bardiani still have an opportunity if Guardini is still in this peloton behind. I believe he still is. So good effort here by the 25-year-old Italian riding for the 2nd division Bardiani CSF team.
Yeah, what a big and important victory that would be. He's not, as you might expect, a noted time trialist of great ability. 14th in the National Road Race Championships a couple of years ago, the summit of his achievements. A little bit of a stall in the bunch behind. It's going to allow some riders back in, and that will be of great benefit to the Astana and the Gazprom Rus Velo squads.
The situation now is we come off the descent, like we were saying a little bit earlier on. Barry and Merida, they don't want to drive this all the way in, so they come off the descent. They've kept Sweet Sue safe. They know that you know, these riders in front are no threat to the overall. So coming off this descent, they'll ride with less speed at the moment, hoping that maybe some of the other teams will come up and start helping them now and bring this back to a sprint, and then maybe Bonifacio could benefit from that.
That's great never say die attitude from Guillaume Boivin. He just doesn't want to give up. He's been out front all day. One of the riders coming back into the bunch actually was Bishiktov, who was in the break early on, caught by the bunch, distanced on the climb, and has made the effort to get back into the bunch on the descents and to give what assistance he can with what energy he has left to the Astana squad. So great riding from him. Great riding too from Tonelli. 42 seconds. They're just chipping away at it, but I suspect that they're going to gain at a faster rate now. We're back down to the sea level and back down onto a relatively flat road. 11.6 kilometers remaining. Surely he's going to need a lot more than this, but he's not going to give up until the very last possible moment. Let's start to run the rule over the sprinters that we have available. Bonifacio, we've mentioned, from the Bahrain Merida squad. They're defending the overall race lead, but Bonifacio with a stage win on day one. And that unfortunate crash that occurred on the second day, which eliminated him from any chance of stage success. Well, Bonifacio would like to right that wrong.
I think there's two teams that really have to come to the front, Declan, and one of them has to be Nico Vini Fantini. They've already put 2 riders, 7-rider teams, so they've already committed 2 riders. I very much doubt that they're in the peloton, but they still have, you know, some other riders in there to kind of help the chase. So if they want to win another stage, then, you know, they have to get involved. The other team, I think the main team here is Astana. Astana really have to come up. Minali's in there. They're back onto this coast road again. This is the same coast road they've already done, so they know where they are. And I think once we come onto this coast road, if they want to win the stage, bring this rider back, then they're going to have to commit riders. But you also have to throw in the mix. There is, you know, other opportunities here. You know, would CCC come up now that Ocean's back, thinking of, you know, Marco Kump? Would, you know, Israel come up thinking of Sparagli? So, as you rightly said, there's some other sprinters in here might be thinking, well, Zagreb could be a bit of a lottery. Everybody's up for that stage tomorrow. It's not going to happen for me. So this could be the only chance for so many teams.
Yeah, in the absence now of Nizzolo and Murphy, and Kenny De Haas also might encourage a few other riders to try their luck, because a couple of significant sprint riders have been eliminated in yesterday's mountain stage. Boivin and Ovsian resisting for as long as they can. Cal has gone back. Tonelli still clear at the moment. We're down to the final 10 kilometers on stage 4 of the Tour of Croatia for 2018. Tonelli clear of the field. Boivin and Ovsian about to be reabsorbed, and I don't think it's going to be too long before that happens. It's a reduced bunch following that 3rd category climb that is going to try and hound down these remaining upstarts from the early break. But they've got a bit of work to do to get it to do it. Well, they've got 2 of them. And Chris Nielands has gone on the attack, and that's an interesting play, because Nielands is a rider of some ability, and Bardiani want to try and cover it. So too do Gazprom.
Yeah, this road that they've already been on, they went through the last sprint of the day, and there was an attack by the Rompot rider on the right-hand side, covered by Bahrain Merida, and that was Mohoric. So Mohoric looking for opportunities here, but Nielands, the Latvian champion, decided to go over the top. So there's a bit of action at front of the peloton. I don't think that Bahrain Merida will like this. They want to try and keep control, but the gap coming down now, 37 seconds, but you can just see a lot of teams are starting to think about this stage win, and it's pretty much courtesy of Bahrain Merida keeping this gap down to the lone leader of Tonelli. It just excites everybody else, and with a gap of about 35-37 seconds, this is going to be a tough run-in for this man.
Well, this rolling finish, well, it must feel like absolute torture for Tonelli. And look at his face, is contorted in pain, but he's going to drag everything that he possibly can out. 36 seconds with Chris Nielands replacing his Israel Cycling Academy teammate Guillaume Boivin clear of the field. And the bunch is starting to split their riders in groups of 6 and 7, just establishing little advantages. This could change the dynamic of this stage, the topography. Well, a few teams have had a little look at the route book and spotted a couple of opportunities.
Yeah, we've got a small group off the front here, and I think Bonifacio was involved there for Bahrain Merida, so it's going to all hands to the pump. You have to cover these attacks, but this is a tough run, and 35 seconds for the sole leader. Nielands trying to escape everybody else, but there's still a lot of fight behind as we see constant attacks and fractures in the peloton.
That's a tough job to try and keep this one together for any sort of a sprint. Bardiani CSF are going to try and hound down anyone that fancies their chances of going clear. Well, Chris Nealance has got a bit of an advantage on the next group on the road of what, maybe 10-12 riders. And this man up front is the Bardiani CSF rider, clear and racing to glory. Well, he's got a way to go yet. 31 seconds, 8.3 kilometers remaining. Is there any chance he possibly could hang on?
Unless there's a stall behind, but I think this course road, we've already been over it. It encourages attacking race, and it's kind of up and down. You can just see the leader, or you can see Nyland's, but the leader just went round the corner there, and with a 30 seconds advantage, I don't think it's going to be Tonelli's day. Whether it's Bardiani's day with Gardini, we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, is Gardini involved? The riders snake around the road as nobody wants to take it up. Nealance continues to hang on to just dangle clear of the peloton. The peloton split into groups, fractured by the topography. The wind is also playing a role as it sweeps in from the sea. The peloton stretched out thin, inside half a minute for the first time for Tonelli, but down to 7.5 kilometers. He's doing an absolutely manful job. Fantastic work from Tonelli. Is it possible? Well, he'll continue to believe, and he's not going to leave anything out there. He's going to go to the line absolutely exhausted. The question is, will he have enough energy, and will it be required that he lifts his arms in the air? Alessandro Tonelli has been clear since, well, about halfway up that 5 kilometer third category climb, coming in the final 30-odd kilometers of this fourth stage. Tonelli now, having spent the entire day clear of the bunch in the early break, just has to get out of the saddle and try and maintain the momentum. He'll feel like he's cycling through treacle. He'll believe that he's not making any progress on the road, just trying to fight the demons inside, and the thoughts, the negative thoughts that are consuming him, trying to find a positive way to work at the process. Chris Nealance, well, he'll be a little bit fresher, Latvian champion. And he's an attacking rider. He's definitely one for the connoisseurs, isn't he? The way he likes to race is to get clear of the peloton and do his own thing.
The thing is, constant attacks from the front of the peloton. You can just see the commissaire looking behind. He knows that this gap is coming down. The Tonelli doing a terrific job. Nyland's just kind of floating off the front of the main peloton, but he's not really eating into this advantage. Barry and Merida trying to have some sort of control, but it's still constant attacks, which means that the speed isn't high enough to block these attacks. And yet again, we see the team of Carual come towards the front.
Well, they're a little bit anonymous, weren't they, on that climb? Maybe this was the plan all along, to try and set something up when they reached the rocky road, the up and down. Nyland's surely not going to hang on clear, but will Tonelli? He's extending his advantage. 6 kilometers remaining, up to 36 seconds. Going the right direction for him.
It is, and you know, that'll be music to his ears, especially coming up to the 5 kilometer to go boards. But the peloton in one line, it's one rider from Barry and Merida. Nyland's is still in front, the Latvian champion for the Israel Cycling Academy. So it's stretching out 1 or 2 seconds again, and still holding on here. So unless there's a big chase from behind, this rider could actually go all the way now.
Well, he'll be hearing screaming in his ears. Is it a real voice or just the inner demons? Because he'll be propelled to glory, if at all possible, by his team car. They'll be pretty excited about this. Down every little descent, he gains 1 or 2 seconds. Every time the road rises, well, he loses a couple of seconds, but still hanging on north of half a minute. Every kilometer that is dispensed with means he's a little bit closer to an improbable success. Chris Nealance crouches over the top tube. Well, in that position, he's not going to get much relief from the efforts he's been making, because he's got to stretch his body into all sorts of positions to try and get as aerodynamic as possible. He too sitting and just dangling off the front of the peloton. It seems well, pretty certain he's going to be caught. You can't imagine that he's going to last, but he's not going to give up. Chris Nealon's, the job that he's doing is an impressive one, but an even more impressive one by Alessandro Tonelli. Now we have Bahrain Merida on the front of the peloton. Bardiani CSF are just going to track the wheels. Is Guardini in there to sprint for them? Well, their main focus at the moment is in trying to disrupt the chase behind. And does the peloton spreads wide? That's good news again for our leader out front.
Yeah, they can actually just see him in front. He's just at the top of the drag. Nealance is kind of just hanging in there. He looks behind. They can see, can actually feel their breath just behind. But it's Mahoric that was on the front for Bahrain Merida, and Mahoric can eat into a gap. He's over the top of another drag. Still another couple of drags to go with 4 kilometers to go. He's still holding 30 seconds. We said that a few kilometers ago. He had about 30 odd seconds. So it's still in the balance, and it needs a concerted effort behind, but we don't seem to be having that.
But just how much organisation is behind? How many teams have riders and are able to, that have the strength and are able to put something together, given the difficulties that they've had over the last couple of days? Yesterday's climb could well be playing into this one a little bit, and of course today's up and down conclusion to the stage, and the fact that it's a reduced peloton.
That's the thing, Declan. That's the thing with this situation we've got in here. You have to bring back the sole leader if you want to win a chance of a win, and you can't sit back and allow Bahrain Merida to do it. They've got Bonifacio there. They've got Mahoric riding on the front, so you can't sit back. There's a Astana rider sitting down the back here. If you're in the bunch, then you've got something left. So why don't you go up and help bring this sole rider back and help Manali? Okay, if he doesn't win the stage, at least you tried. So there's a lot of riders kind of sitting back at the moment, not getting involved in the chase, leaving it up to Bahrain Merida. And at the end of the day, Bahrain Merida, they don't have to really bring it back. Now we got Boaro riding at the front. We've now got Guillaume Bovan riding at the front. He's been in the breakaway today. He's riding at the front because I think it's starting to click now. It's starting to click in their heads that they have to bring this rider back if they want a chance to win. Okay, you're helping other riders out, but we said it before, Bovan got on the breakaway because he thought the breakaway would go to the end. They still have Sparagli in here that is a good enough sprinter, and if you want to win, you need to bring this rider back first.
Well, inside 30 seconds for the first time in quite a while. Tonelli is now down to the final 2,500 metres. Chris Nealon's has been reabsorbed as Bahrain Merida start to take it up on the front of the peloton. Who else is in there to do this job as they sit, the overall race leader sits third in line, trying to stay as safe as possible. He's inside the 3 kilometre zone, but he doesn't want to get involved in any nastiness as Tonelli. Well, he's going to try and stay clear as well and avoid any crashes and try and stay clear for victory. Tonelli trying to get anything that's going to give him an advantage by dispensing with that bottle. He's just in as aerodynamic a position as he can possibly gain. The car moves ahead. He's down to 22 seconds. Surely is it possible? He's had a tailwind for the last little while, but it's a technical finish.
It is a very technical finish here, and you know he's going to have the pick of the corners as well. Arashiro was at the front of the peloton, but it's still nip and tuck. He still can't do it. 19 seconds. You know, close to 1,500 metres to go. With these corners, he's not going to lose any time. It's going to be a close one.
The technical finish is to advantage as he goes to his advantage as he goes through the corners. The bunch is bigger and more unwieldy through those bends. For all that, though, the wind, well, maybe a little bit less to his advantage on some of these straights. The buildings will help with a little bit of shelter. And Tonelli, well, he must be out on his ear at the moment. Down to the final 1,300 metres. There's the kite. He knows he's just got 1,000 metres of racing beyond this. He gets the encouragement. He's sent on his way with best wishes from the spectators at roadside. The bunch, well, is waiting to pounce and trying to get organised for its sprint, and also trying to get organised to sustain the chase. The bunch now through and under the kite with 20 seconds between themselves and Alessandro Tonelli. Has he saved anything for the final push? Bahrain Merida on the front, and the other teams trying to put something together. Nippo Vinifantini so active in the chase earlier on, and now have disappeared back towards the back of the bunch. Tonelli now through this final left-hander. 500 meters remaining for Alessandro Tonelli. We were certain he was going to be caught with about 30 kilometers to go, and we could well have been wrong, as indeed were the bunch, because Alessandro Tonelli is now inside the final 300 meters through the right-hander, and the bunch is spectators are sending him on. 300 meters remaining, no sign of the bunch, and that's got to be good news. There's a crash behind almost inevitably. It's a super technical finish once more, but it's good news for Alessandro Tonelli. Still no sign of anyone coming up. Now he can start to think about composing that victory speech. It is a beautiful victory, a solo victory for Bardiani CSF, and Alessandro Tonelli has time to celebrate and enjoy it. He's won stage 4 of the Tour of Croatia. He's won it solo. He's won it with the most improbable and beautiful stage victory, and it's going to be a 1-2 finish for Bardiani CSF as a somewhat bedraggled bunch tries to put itself together for a sprint success, but they're almost 20 seconds back. Alessandro Tonelli takes the victory for Italy, for Bardiani CSF. That was improbable, and that was beautiful.
Yeah, great stage that. Just a pity about the crashes in the end, but Bardiani really deserved that. It looked like the Gardini got second place there, so 1 and 2 in the day, and we're just talking about it in the way in. You need to bring this rider back if you want to try and win the race, and everybody was kind of sitting behind, waiting. So I love it when you know, a plan comes off, and this is what they did at the start of the day. Put a rider in a breakaway. He attacked in the last climb. He gave it absolutely everything. When we came onto that coast road, I really didn't think he managed to stay away, but it was all the stop-start. It was all looking around behind from the other teams. But that man there deserved it. The 25-year-old Italian rider, riding for the second division team, gave it his absolutely all and brought it home today.
Well, let's relive in slow motion the closing. Wow, look at that. That was close. That was the difference between glory and disaster.
Same
what happened in the bunch right on the front?
They all came down at the front.
Was it Gidic, the leader of the young rider classification for the Astana squad, that was first to go down? A few others went down in sympathy, and a few others piled into him from behind. So it was the first rider in the peloton, and that can only have aided his cause a little bit.
There's